Prepare for the divine black moon on August 22nd. 3 miraculous days of prophetic awakening and supernatural healing are upon us. The streets of the quaint English village of Marshwood are buzzing with anticipation. The beloved St. Michael's Church stands tall, its ancient stones murmuring secrets of faith as fear mingles with hope. It has always been the heart of their community, a sanctuary where the faithful come together to seek solace and strength. In this village lives Edith, a gentle woman in her late 50s, known for her kind heart and unwavering spirit. As the sun sank low, casting a warm glow across the churchyard, Edith felt a stirring in her soul. That night, she knelt in humble prayer before the altar, her voice a soft whisper in stillness. "Lord, grant me understanding," she implored, hands clasped tight. Suddenly, a brilliant light enveloped her, illuminating the sacred space. Her heart raced as vivid images danced before her mind's eye, children laughing, the sick restored, and a divine renewal sweeping through their weary hearts. The assurance of miracles echoed in her very being. She just knew the divine black moon heralded a new dawn for them all. When Edith shared her revelation with Reverend Thomas, his deep voice trembled. The congregation gathered in hushed awe, while some faces reflected hope. But murmurs of skepticism soon crept in. "How can we believe in miracles when illness plagues our village?" They whispered, casting glances at the weak children, their eyes filled with anxiety. Yet still, Edith felt an unshakable call to action. "We must pray together," she urged, her heart ablaze with faith. And so, she organized a 3-day prayer vigil at St. Michael's, a time for every villager to unite. Excitement filled the air, tinged with fear, as they faced the grim reality of their struggles. Children who once filled the air with laughter now turned cautious, and families huddled closer in the face of uncertainty. But as they gathered under the wide stone arches of the church, they found strength. To the rhythmic tones of their spirited hymns, the ancient walls seemed to beckon, resonating with divine presence. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. As the eve of the black moon approached, a sacred energy hung in the air. The villagers prayed like they hadn't tea in years. Then, amidst the fervent devotion, a miracle happened. A child, once bedridden and frail, stood before them, his tiny face lit with life. Gasps of disbelief morphed into tears of joy, reverberating through the sacred space. The air thickened with divine electricity as skeptics felt the power of faith surge around them, drawing them to the warmth of belief. Yet just as a bright horizon appeared, a storm brewed on the village's doorstep, an unexpected crisis that threatened to extinguish the hope ignited by miracles. Doubts crept back, ready to shatter their newfound faith and plunge them into despair. The very essence of belief was at stake, and as night fell on the divine black moon, the villagers found themselves caught in a fierce battle of spirits. Would they witness God's power unfold before their eyes, or would the shadows of doubt drag them back into darkness? In this moment of divine tension, Edith held firm, her heart a beacon of hope as the storm gathered around St. Michael's Church. The dawn could either reveal God as promised or leave them in the unending night of uncertainty. As the clock struck midnight, a profound hush enveloped Marshwood. The divine black moon loomed ominously, a shimmering orb casting an ethereal silver light over the village. It felt as though heaven and earth held their breath, waiting to unveil the wonders promised to the faithful. Edith, robed in the softest gown, descended the steps of St. Michael's, her heart pounding with anticipation and fervent prayer. She could feel the weight of every hopeful gaze from the villagers behind her. A palpable energy pulsed in the air, electric and divine, drawing people closer as they prepared to bear witness to what was to come. The church, normally a place of comfort, now felt charged with urgency. As the first rays of moonlight poured through the stained glass windows, the colors igniting in brilliant hues, Edith raised her hands. "Let us surrender to the Spirit tonight," she called out, her voice steady and ringing. "Here, in this sacred space, we shall invite the miraculous presence of God." With each prayer, a wave of faith rolled through the congregation. They chanted in unison, their words intertwining like a soft quilt wrapping around their hearts. Children huddled close to their parents, while the elderly clasped hands, a community united in a fervent longing for healing. Deep breaths filled the air, mingling with the scent of candles and fresh flowers, creating an atmosphere rich with hope. But just as the prayers intensified, dark clouds began to gather overhead. A cold wind cut through the churchyard, chilling their fervor. Fear flickered in some eyes as the first rumble of thunder boomed, like an angry reply from the heavens. Edith felt a shiver run down her spine, part of her questioning if their faith could withstand this test. Yet even as the storm threatened, she remembered the vision granted to her joyful children, miraculous restoration, joyful songs. "Stay strong in your faith," she urged, her voice unwavering. "This storm is but a test. Remember the laughter we hope to restore." Courage sprang forth, igniting even the most skeptical hearts in the crowd. Suddenly, the air changed, a warmth washed over them. An unexplainable peace began to permeate through the chaos, more powerful than the howling wind. Edith opened her eyes to see shimmering lights dancing among the congregation. The onlookers gasped, their fears momentarily dispelled as they beheld the revelation unfolding. "Look, the light!" A voice cried out from the back, and gasps of wonder replaced the storm's roar. Edith's heart soared. These flickering lights were like tiny stars scattering hope amongst the villagers. Yet, just as they began to understand the miracle at hand, a crash of thunder shattered the moment. The villagers tensed as dark, ominous shadows loomed at the edge of the churchyard, twisting and swirling with the wind. Unease settled back into their hearts. How could they unite their faith against such dark forces? Would their collective belief survive the testing ground of fear? Standing before the altar, Edith felt compelled to call for the power of unity. She raised her palms, encouraging the villagers to join her. "Together, let us proclaim God's promises. His love outweighs every shadow." As their voices intertwined in a symphony of faith, the storm seemed to pause. The flickering lights brightened, enveloping them in warmth and calm. But then, amidst this sacred moment, a voice called from the back, trembling yet clear. "What if the darkness is strong enough?" And so, the villagers' hearts trembled at the precipice of faith and doubt, the promise of the divine black moon beckoning them to press on. Would they rise above or be drawn back into darkness? As the wind whispered secrets around them, that question loomed larger than ever, echoing in the depths of their souls. Edith's heart raced as she heard the voice echo through the crowd, a delicate thread of doubt weaving into the tapestry of faith. She turned to see a young man at the back, his face pale and strained. It was Thomas, a quiet soul known for his deep spirit. Could it be that the very doubt they battled now stood before them, manifesting in the midst of their sacred moment? "Do not let fear cloud your hearts, dear Thomas," she called out. "Remember the Lord's promises. He walks with us through every storm." The villagers, drawn to the sincerity in her voice, shifted toward the altar, seeking solace. Edith felt the warmth in the air swell, like a soft embrace wrapping itself around their souls. How miraculous! She could almost see their fears beginning to melt, their spirit rising like smoke from the fragrant incense. With every heartbeat, the lights began to shimmer brighter, twinkling like divine fireflies, illuminating the corners of their hearts. They stood together, a collective force of belief, waiting to see what God would reveal in this moment of uncertainty. The storm above, though vast and looming, seemed but a whisper compared to the faith now surging in their midst. Let us show the darkness that our light cannot be snuffed out. Edith rallied, her hands now firm at her side. We must hold steadfast to faith, dear friends. In the face of doubt, let our love and belief draw us together. The congregation responded with renewed fervor, voices lifted high, resonating through the chilling night. Even the wind seemed to soften, allowing their prayers to rise higher, mingling with the echo of their joy and hope. Yes, they were a tapestry, a glorious weave of hopes, dreams, and prayers bound together by unfaltering love in the face of adversity. As round after round of praises burst forth, tears of gratitude mingled with the rain, and the faces of the villagers glimmered with purpose. But then, just as the atmosphere filled with hope, a loud crash jolted them back to the reality of the storm. Rain began to fall heavily. Each drop felt like the heavens were weeping. The shadows at the edge of the churchyard danced menacingly, and for a heartbeat, despair threatened to creep back in. "Stay with me," Edith cried, reaching toward the swirling darkness. "Remember what we seek. It's not mere hope we seek, the very presence of God." Suddenly, amidst the tumult, a bright light shot forth from the altar. It pierced through the darkness, radiating an undeniable presence that demanded attention. Gasps rippled through the crowd as they turned to face the powerful glow. In that moment, the familiar figure appeared in angelic presence, radiant and divine. Peace washed over the congregation like a balm. The shadows recoiled, retreating from the brilliance. "Fear not," the heavenly spirit proclaimed, its voice rich and soothing, echoing like pure music through the air. "You are gathered in faith and love, and the darkness shall not triumph over you. Your prayers have been heard." Edith felt her heart swell with joy, her soul igniting with renewed fervor. Miracles were within reach. As the heavenly figure continued to speak, the villagers leaned in, mesmerized and filled with a sense of divine purpose. What wonders awaited them in this sacred hour? Could this truly be the turning point they had prayed for? And just as hope began to flourish, a thought pulsed through Edith's mind. What would it take for the villagers to overcome the summoning shadows? Would their faith surpass the trials still looming ahead? Standing at the precipice of uncertainty once more, a question hung in the air, echoing amongst the flickering lights and the drumming rain. Only time would reveal the depths of their courage, the rising of true faith. As the angel's voice settled into the hearts of those gathered, an immense wave of warmth cascaded over the villagers, pushing back the chill of the storm. Edith watched as once pale faces transformed with vibrant color, eyes wide with hope, reflecting the brilliance of the angelic light. In this sacred moment, doubt began to unravel like thread, each villager weaving their own prayer back into the collective fabric of faith. "Look around you," Edith encouraged, gesturing to the villagers who had formed an unbroken circle of unity. "We are not alone. We stand together, bolstered by love and light." The echoes of their voices filled the churchyard, a joyful crescendo rising above the pounding rain. Every prayer sent upwards became a shining star in the heavens, illuminating the path ahead. Even the most hesitant among them, like Thomas, felt an ember of belief kindling within, driven by the strength of their gathering. "Can you feel it?" he whispered to a nearby neighbor, a woman whose hands trembled in prayer. "The power of our faith? It's alive." "Yes," she exclaimed, her arms raised high as if to grasp the very spirit the angel had brought forth. "It surrounds us. We are his children, loved and cherished." The angel smiled, its radiant presence a soothing balm to their souls. "Yes, my beloved children, your faith is the shield against the storm. You have sought the light, now let it fill your hearts and guide your steps." As each villager opened their hearts, an extraordinary ripple flowed through the crowd. In that sharing, hopes became more vivid, dreams took shape, and soon the undeniable truth settled among them. They were chosen vessels for something divine. The atmosphere throbbed with expectancy, resonating with all the miracles yet to unfold. Edith closed her eyes for a moment, surrendering herself to the wondrous reality that pulsed around her. She envisioned each prayer sent aloft, each whispered gratitude rising like fragrant incense, curling heavenward. Her heart beat in harmony with theirs, each pulse a reminder of their connection, their shared journey towards healing. Yet, as they basked in the divine presence, a shiver of uncertainty flickered within Edith's spirit. The shadows lurking just beyond the churchyard appeared restless, swirling in a dance of menace. Would their collective faith be enough to keep the darkness at bay? Would the strength they drew from one another withstand the trials still looming? "We must prepare, dear family," Edith called, her voice firm yet tender. Was faith, if not tested? We must stand vigilant, pushing against the tide of despair that seeks to envelop us. A murmur of agreement flowed through the crowd, hearts igniting with determination anew. This was not merely a gathering, it was a calling. Edith knew that the next steps would be crucial. They needed to embody the light they had conjured and grounded into their lives, countering any flickers of doubt. "Together, we can weather any storm," someone shouted from the back, sending a wave of affirmation spreading like wildfire through the villagers. It was Thomas, now emboldened, no longer a mere observer, but a radiant part of this newfound light. As they began to chant, a sweet melody rose from their hearts, casting a net of protection around them. Yet even with the rising tide of faith, Edith perceived the urgency of action. Her heart, yearning for more clarity, fought against the pressing shadows. Suddenly, a fierce wind whipped through the courtyard, carrying with it whispers of something unseen, a message woven through the raindrops. What lies ahead? She pondered, a shiver coursing down her spine. Each moment filled with hope thickened the air with divine anticipation. What were they being called to do? What mysteries awaited them in those looming days ahead, as the storm raged and their faith shone ever brighter? Only time would peel back the layers of divine intention. Would they rise to meet the challenge, or let fear dictate their path? As the storm roared outside, the air within the courtyard trembled with an energy that felt simultaneously thrilling and daunting. The villagers stood united, a living testament to faith that transcended fear. Each prayer, each hope shared aloud, sprang from their collective hearts like wildflowers breaking through the frost. Edith, sensing the urgency of action, looked up toward the angel. "What do we do now?" she whispered, her voice threading through the intense atmosphere. The angel's gentle gaze sought out her own, and there was a moment, an electric pause when time seemed to hold its breath. "Believe and act," came the angel's melodic response, soft but resonant. Faith is not merely a refuge, but a calling to move forward, even when the path is veiled. A deep hush fell over the crowd, lingering questions resting on their lips like unspoken prayers. Suddenly, the angel gestured towards the horizon, where the storm clouds gathered ominously. "There lies your strength. It is to the storm you must march, to the center of its fury, for therein lies your true power." Heads turned, eyes widened, hearts quickened. Murmurs began rippling through the assembly, uncertainty mingling with courageous resolve. "Is that our task?" A voice erupted from the edge of the circle. It belonged to Anya, a quiet woman known for her keen intuition. "To walk into chaos? But what if it consumes us?" "It will not," Thomas interjected, emboldened by the moment. "We carry the light. Remember, we have already awakened the divine within us. We cannot retreat. We must step forward." His shout invigorated the villagers, and a wave of affirmation coursed through the gathering. Edith felt the rising determination spark in her soul. "Exactly. We will not allow despair to have the final word. If faith is our armor, let us wear it boldly as we face the storm." Her words sparked a fervent chant as villagers joined hands, voices cascading like a waterfall, each declaration powerfully entwined with one another. With each repetition, their trepidation began to dissolve, replaced by an overwhelming sense of purpose. It was as if their voices, lifted high, crafted an invisible shield of strength against the tempest. The villagers pressed onward, each footfall a declaration of faith, a heartbeat of hope against the backdrop of a storm that raged with fury. The air electrified as they neared the heart of the tempest. The wind howled, but it was no match for the united voices that rose like an anthem, reverberating through the chaos. Edith felt a warmth bloom in her chest, a comforting glow that pushed back against the biting winds. With each step, she could sense the fabric of the world shifting beneath her feet, love and strength weaving around her, binding her to those who marched beside her. The sweet smell of rain mingled with the scent of blossoming courage. Together, they formed a tapestry of resilience, stitched with threads of faith and determination. "Look at that!" exclaimed Thomas, pointing ahead where the storm had begun to unravel. Bright streaks of lightning coursed like rivers through the darkened sky, illuminating faces filled with wonder and strength. There was beauty intertwined with chaos, a divine paradox that stirred something deep in Edith's spirit. "Do you see? Even storms have their purpose," she called out, her voice rising above the tempest. Others nodded, an understanding glimmering in their eyes. They were more than just villagers now. They were warriors of light, the embodiment of hope woven into the fabric of despair. Suddenly, a blinding flash of light broke from the clouds, spreading radiant colors across the dark canvas of night. It was not just a storm anymore. It was a symphony of divine artistry. The moonlight, struggling to break through the haze, cast ethereal shadows that danced around them, as if whispering secrets of old. As they neared the storm's eye, an overwhelming sense of joy and expectation surged through the crowd. Edith could feel it deep in her bones. The promise of revelation awaited them. They had embraced the chaos, had chosen to step into it. God was in the midst of their brave march, visible in the light seeping through darkness, in a love that bound them. Anya, still hesitant but wide-eyed, stepped closer to Edith. "What do you think we'll find?" Her voice trembled slightly, but hope flickered in her gaze. "Whatever it is, it will be in his good hands," Edith replied, squeezing her hand reassuringly. "Sometimes we need to face the storm to uncover the treasures hidden within it." As they reached the center, a peaceful hush descended unexpectedly. The storm's chaotic winds transformed into a gentle breeze, embracing them in a tranquil cocoon. The swirl of clouds parted, revealing an awe-inspiring sight. A radiant light pulsated from the heavens, shimmering like the very essence of divinity itself. The moon, now fully unveiled, basked them in its pure glow. In that moment, collective gasps rose from the group. They each felt the call to kneel or raise their hands in worship, a divine invitation to open their hearts to the flood of grace pouring forth. A gentle warmth enveloped them as whispers of encouragement filled the air, louder than thunder, softer than raindrops. "You are loved. You are cherished. You are not alone." The storm, which had both terrified and tested them, turned into an experience of divine intimacy where they felt truly alive. Each villager connected with an unseen force, boundless and pure, allowing their spirits to unfurl like flowers drinking in the sunlight after a storm. "I think we're about to discover something incredible," Edith breathed, awash in light, a knowing smile crossing her lips. With that, they stood together, hearts united in faith, ready for whatever revelation awaited them. The moon's glow beckoned them onward, whispering promises of transformation. But what would this awakening entail for their lives? What dimensions of truth lay hidden, waiting to be unearthed in their hearts? In the electric silence, the question hung heavy in the air. Would they be ready to embrace the extraordinary grace that lay ahead? The villagers remained transfixed. The shimmering light surrounding them felt alive, like 1,000 whispers of comfort intermingled with the soft sighs of the breeze. Each pulse of the divine glow filled their hearts with profound hope. Edith took a deep breath, her spirit buoyed by something greater than herself. It was as though every fear, every doubt, and every painful memory had been gently washed away. "Look!" cried Miriam, her voice bubbling over with excitement as she pointed toward the sky. A stunning vision emerged. It was a formation of celestial beings, pure and radiant, floating gracefully amidst the light. Their presence shifted the very atmosphere. A divine energy filled the air, pulling the villagers into an embrace of unfathomable love. Edith's heart raced at the sight. What does it mean? She wondered, feeling the thrill of revelation prickling her skin. Was this a sign? A calling? As if sensing her thoughts, a soft tone resonated within her. "Open your heart, dear Edith. Embrace the mystery before you." It was an invitation, sweet and solemn, urging her to delve deeper into her own faith. Around her, others began to murmur. Words of awe and devotion floated on the breeze, mingling in a sweet harmony. "We are not alone," Thomas said, his voice thick with emotion. "We are cradled in his presence." The villagers nodded, tears glistening in their eyes. A knowing smile shared among them, as if they had been united by a bond forged in the very essence of grace. The celestial figures shifted, and suddenly a message rang out, clear and powerful, slicing through the tranquility that enveloped them. "The time of reckoning is upon you. Receive the gifts you seek, for every heart made pure will witness the extraordinary." Edith felt a warm pulse in her chest. "What gifts?" she breathed. Each villager shifted, anticipation building amongst them, questions swirling like leaves caught in the wind. "Patience, my friends," came a gentle voice from the light. "Let love guide you. Let faith illuminate your path. In the stillness you shall find clarity." The villagers fell silent, hearts beat in unison. Each moment stretched into eternity, the tranquility blending with an undercurrent of sacred anticipation. And then, with a mighty flash, the moon became an incomprehensible black, cloaking the night in a deep, mystical shadow. Gasps punctuated the stillness, and a collective unease dimmed the glow of their earlier joy. "What does this mean? Why the darkness?" Anya quivered, uncertainty bubbling in her tone. Edith squeezed her hand, her expression a blend of fear and faith. "Perhaps," she whispered, "we are being called to cherish the light we have within us. Even in darkness, he prepares us for something beautiful. Trust in his plan." But doubt is a fickle companion. As the black moon loomed overhead, the villagers began to question themselves, each grappling with what shadows had yet to emerge from their hearts. What was hidden in the recess of their spirits, waiting for revelation? The air crackled with uncertainty, but amidst the worry, there also stirred a flicker of courageous hope. Whatever lay ahead, they were together. Whatever awaited, they would face it united. The whispering celestial beings hovered closer, still radiant despite the shadows. "A new awakening begins," one of them declared. "To embrace the light, one must first conquer the darkness within." As the villagers held their collective breath, the tension in the air built toward a profound breaking point. What were they to discover as they moved beyond the black moon's veil? How could they navigate this new layer of faith that beckoned them into the unknown? With hearts intertwined, the villagers steeled themselves for the extraordinary journey ahead. And waiting just ahead was the promise of transformation. Would they be bold enough to step into the challenge? The weight of the black moon pressed heavily upon them, draping the world in an unusual stillness that seemed to stretch even the fabric of time. The whispers of the celestial beings hung in the air, like a haunting melody, a reminder of the divine presence hovering just out of reach. Each villager, while united, felt the pangs of uncertainty ripple through their hearts. Edith noticed Anya's brow furrowing, the flicker of fear dancing in her wide eyes. "Stay close," Edith murmured, taking Anya's shaking hands in her own, squeezing gently. "This is our moment together." As if responding to her words, a warm glow began to radiate from their clasped hands. The darkness that loomed overhead seemed to waver for a moment, unveiling glimpses of the glimmering light that had enveloped them earlier. It pulsed softly, imploring them to hold fast to hope even amidst the shadows. "Remember the light from before?" Thomas called out, his voice rising above the murmur. "It hasn't left us. We carry it in our hearts." Those words sparked a flicker of courage within the crowd. A newfound determination ignited as they began to recollect the laughter and love shared under the once shining moon. Memories of joy became the embers of faith, stirring spirits waning in doubt. "Let us sing," Miriam proposed, her voice now resonating with energy. "Sing to the light that we hold, sing to God." With hesitant but hopeful hearts, the villagers began to sing, their voices entwined like threads of a tapestry, weaving together their collective faith in a beautiful display of unity. The melody grew, rising up towards the darkened sky, like a prayer sent straight to the heavens. As if responding to their devotion, the black moon began to shimmer. Strands of light began to break through its opaque cloak, dancing like stars yearning to emerge. The villagers watched, awestruck, as the fabric of night was pierced with sparkling hues of gold and silver. Edith's heart swelled with fervor, her voice rising even higher. "We will not be overcome. Our faith is stronger than this darkness." Suddenly, the celestial beings shimmered anew, gliding down toward them, aglow with gentle luminescence. One of them, a radiant angel with wings that glistened like diamonds, stepped forward. "Dear children, you have awakened the light within," it declared, voice resonating like a bell. "Your faith calls forth what lies hidden in shadows." "What does that mean for us?" Edith asked loudly, her voice breaking through the harmonies. "Prepare yourselves," the being replied, eyes sparkling with otherworldly wisdom, "for the gifts you seek shall bloom from the depths of your spirit. Embrace the challenge of reflection, for the treasures you carry will sprout from the darkest soils within." An overwhelming warmth filled the villagers, igniting their hearts afresh. There was a sense that they were on the brink of something monumental. And yet a question hung in the air: what challenges awaited them in the depths of their souls? Before they could ponder further, the angel raised its hands, and the moon, once again, transformed. Reality shifted, revealing stunning patterns of light cascading across the ground. It held the promise of revelation, but with it came paths untrodden, mirroring the complex journey of self-discovery each must embark upon. "Will you walk boldly into the light?" The angel beckoned, voice echoing with encouragement. And with that, the villagers took a deep collective breath, each feeling the tug of divine invitation entwined with uncertainty. They stood, poised at the threshold of transformation, ready to embrace both their fears and their faith. What awaited them as they ventured deeper into the recesses of their souls? Would they uncover the treasures hidden in the darkness? The answer lay just beyond their reach. The villagers stood united, their breath bated in a collective moment of suspense. The angel's wings shimmered like the edges of a dream, reflecting the hopes and fears painted across the faces of each soul present. As they glanced at one another, an unspoken question hung palpably in the air. Would they dare to step into the unknown? With a deep sigh, Edith glanced down at Anya, who was wide-eyed, filled with a mixture of wonder and trepidation. "We must go together," she whispered, feeling the abiding warmth radiating from their joined hands. The glow around them pulsed softly, as if urging them onward, and Edith willed her own spirit to become a beacon of encouragement. "Let us be our light," Anya declared with newfound strength, her voice shaking but resolved. The crowd stirred, emboldened by her words, and one by one, they slowly stepped forward. Edith led, and behind her flowed the villagers, all willing to walk hand in hand into the depths of their souls. As they ventured forth, the very ground beneath their feet transformed. Flowers of pure light sprang up where their feet touched. Each blossom resonated with tones of their collective song, echoing deep within their hearts. It was as if the earth itself recognized their faith, responding with joy as they embraced the call to self-exploration. "Look!" exclaimed Thomas, pointing ahead. A shimmering pathway unfurled, lined with the brilliant hues of the celestial light, beckoning them forward. The vibrant colors sparkled like jewels, igniting the shadows around them, forcing the darkness to retreat. "Is this the way to the treasures?" Miriam asked, her voice a whisper filled with reverence. "It is our journey that reveals the gifts," the angel replied, now floating above them, illuminating their path. "In each moment of uncertainty, reflect with courage. From your depths, arise the miracles you seek." With courage growing in their hearts, they pressed on. Every footstep echoed faith, and a wave of connectedness washed over them. They could feel the presence of each other, their hopes intertwining like roots in a sacred garden, nurtured by the light. The path twisted and turned, leading them through a forest of light-filled trees, where whispers of forgotten promises danced on the wind. Edith caught glimpses of their fears, shadows, rising from the corners of her mind like dark clouds threatening rain. Yet the light they carried grew brighter, holding the darkness at bay. "Fear is but a shadow," the angel called out gently. "Embrace it, face it, for it has much to teach you." The words resonated, cutting through the panic that threatened to rise within her. In that moment, Edith realized that within the very shadow of her fear lay the key to understanding. Determined, she stepped deeper into the illuminated thicket. The memories from her past flooded her mind, regrets, sorrow, lost moments, but they were now wrapped in golden light. "As we walk through this revelation, I feel the burden lifting," Anya said beside her, her face glowing with clarity. "What if our struggles are simply the soil needed for our growth?" As if in response to this insight, the trees shimmered, bowing slightly, as if in agreement. The villagers smiled at one another, feeling an undeniable assurance that they were not alone in their journey. With newfound strength, they advanced, ready to confront both the darkness and the light that lay ahead. What treasures would arise in these uncharted depths? The very air shimmered with promise, echoing the whispers of their hearts. As they approached a clearing swathed in radiant light, a sense of divine anticipation enveloped them. What awaited them in this sacred space? Could it be the moment when the true nature of their souls would be revealed? They paused on the threshold, hearts racing, holding on to each other's steadfastness. The adventure of transformation was just beginning, waiting to unveil its divine mystery. As they entered the clearing, the light brightened, wrapping around the villagers like a warm embrace. Edith's heart swelled, filled with gratitude and hope. What awaited them was clearer than she ever imagined. Their own souls unearthing the treasures of faith and healing that had long been buried. In the center stood a colossal tree, its branches golden and shimmering, laden with sparkling fruits that glinted like the stars above. "This is the tree of awakening," the angel proclaimed, its voice flowing with reverence and joy. "Here, you shall experience a divine, exchange your burdens shall transform into gifts of grace." Edith could hardly breathe. "But how do we partake?" she asked, her voice trembling with awe. "By sharing your truth," the angel replied, beckoning accordingly. "Each of you must voice your fears and joys. Let every word be a seed. Let it be sown into the soil of faith." Taking a deep breath, Edith stepped forward. "I have struggled with doubt," she began, her voice echoing among the trees. "Doubt that I am worthy, that healing can come, that I can stand firm in faith." She lifted her head high, eyes shining. "But I trust in God's love." As she spoke, a shimmer fell from the tree, cascading like gentle rain, washing over her. Each drop felt like forgiveness, like dissolving chains, replacing her doubt with a warmth she had long yearned for. Next to her, Thomas stepped forward, his voice steadied by her courage. "I feared the darkness inside me, the shadows that often whisper of failures. Yet now I feel hope looming." His declaration set off a ripple of radiant light from the tree, engulfing them in a wave of love. One by one, the villagers took their turns, sharing their burdens and the rising faith within. "I feared for my children's future," Miriam admitted, her eyes shimmering. "But I see now they are cradled in God's hands." More light enveloped her, as if the fruits of the tree of awakening began to drop, each shining jewel a testament to miraculous transformation. Anya, with trembling hands, stepped forth with determination. "I hid my doubts to protect myself, yet standing here among you all, I realize I'm stronger than I thought. I will not retreat into shadows." With her confession, vivid blossoms began to flourish around her, symbolic of the growth she had just nurtured within. As the last villager poured out their heart, laughter and tears echoed through the sacred space, mingling with an energy that pulsed around them. The gifts of love, healing, and renewed hope showered down from the tree, washing away their fears and nurturing the seeds of faith. Then, in unison, they raised their hands toward the luminous tree, and in that moment, the moon appeared above, glowing like a divine spotlight. "Take these gifts," the angel said, voice soaring like music. "They belong to you, your very essence. Cherish them, nurture them, and carry them out into the world." The villagers stood mesmerized, hearts ignited by a sense of divine purpose. Each of them a vessel of God's light, filled with new resolve that shone as brightly as the moonlight above. Together they laughed, rejoiced, and wept, grasping the golden fruits of their revelations. Life had blossomed within them, each soul transformed through love and understanding. Edith looked around at her community united, renewed, whole. "This is our awakening," she proclaimed, tears streaming down her face. "Together, we embrace our journey, holding tight to one another, ready to step back into the world as reflections of God's love." The villagers cheered, their faith now a cohesive force radiating outward. The shadows that had cast out were now but whispers of the past, a reminder of how far they had come. And so, they turned to leave the clearing, hearts now lighter, the glow of the moon guiding their path back home. Remember, the angel called softly as they departed, "Faith is your compass. Carry it with you always, even within the darkest of nights. You are never alone. And as you walk, share this light with the world." With their spirits ignited and hearts overflowing with the blessings from the tree of awakening, the villagers of Marshwood spread their newfound faith like wildfire, restoring laughter and hope as they stepped boldly into the dawn of a new day. Now, my dear friends, as you witness the stunning conclusion of this transformative journey, I urge you to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive faith stories. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and share the blessings of this journey far and wide. Please comment your reactions and testimonies about this incredible ending. Your voices matter. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this manifestation of divine love and hope. Together, let us continue to shine our light in this world.